What's up, guys? It's Lil Mandy from YouTube. How do I start this? I've never done a story stuff before, so you guys will have to get used to it. Anyway, happy Halloween, guys. Don't know how to show you guys this, but I'm a badass unicorn. I'm like wearing a, I don't know if you can see this, but a Jason shirt. But yes, I've come to you guys, talk to you guys about ghost stories. I'm gonna show about 3 of them from mine. And if you guys like it, maybe in like next Halloween video I will post a ghost story revolve around different people. I couldn't find much people that had the same stories. All had like a lot of complicated ones. But I have some that are interesting from 3 from my past that have been interesting. The first one I can title, I guess the title it could be if the first one would be, is being grabbed. Yes, grabbed by a demon. To recall it, it was when I was like really young. I was probably only like 10, maybe 9, 10 or 9. But I remember it specifically because it was one of the times I first time actually believed in anything like haunted, anything spooky. I mean, I've always believed in like demons and stuff. I never believed in like death or anything, life after death, hauntings or anything like that. Totally, but I mean, I was open to it, but that day it changed my life. I remember specifically it was somewhere around the fall time. I think it might have been around fall. But it started when I was living with my grandma and them. Technically I was living over between that and my home, another home, but I remember I was walking in to the laundry room. Back then it was like a long hallway type of thing, but had like a laundry area. But I remember specifically that I walked over there to, I think it was to do something with laundry. Something to do with laundry. I remember specifically that it was something to do with laundry. And I picked up my clothes. I walked over to the door. The door is always dark because it didn't have a really good light bulb. The light bulb's always burnt out. I don't know why that specific area was always burnt out. But I walked out. Just as I was walking to the front of the last part of there's like another hallway. See, like it's a hallway here, and then there's another hallway over that way. So as I got to that middle part, just about there, I felt something grab me. I mean, I couldn't move. I remember specifically I couldn't move for like, I think it lasted for like a minute. And I remember getting up, like from struggling moving, and I got up and I ran. But that was like that one moment, like for the minute, I felt something with hands, or probably like, I swear every time I talk about this story, something weird happens. But anyway, but yeah, the hands were like this huge. Oh look, I can make like puppets. Just keep trying to sound serious. But yeah, I remember specifically the hands are like this, clawing at me. I remember it specifically, it felt like, you know how crows have those hands, those things, those claws that just grasp onto you? Imagine that, like, twice the hand size. They felt like crow hands, but twice the size of their actual hands. It was weird. I remember specifically, it was the terrifying moment I realized I was being haunted by something. And in my culture, because I'm a native, it's something to do with like bad medicine men, that when you get like things like that, and I think it's because of a thing on my dad's side, something to do with that. Something wanted me, but I know why specifically wanted me, but I've always wanted to know. I've been a little curious, I mean, here and there. But yeah, that was my first story. Not the greatest, I'm not the greatest spooky teller, but yeah, I remember being terrified and I wanted to talk about it for how long, because I felt scary. Okay, next story is actually weird, because this one was terrifying. It was more of a less an experience with the burial ground. This is like more for the middle part of a funeral. It was like a funeral, something like that. But I remember specifically that I went to a funeral. It was one of the funerals anyway. But I remember something clinging on to me afterwards because we had to wash our hands. But I remember something between my hand here and my hand here. Something like touched me, like it was like a finger, the long finger that went like this. And if you can imagine that, if you can feel that, it touched like right from this part to the other end, and it kept doing that until I washed my hands. But that was when we're going to the cemetery, and that's one of the things to remember when you go to a cemetery. You're forever cleaning it, or ever giving flowers away, you're doing something. And remotely, if you ever enter things like that, you have to wash your hands. Like, cleanse them, wash them off. Because some ghosts, not like it's more of, say, it's either a ghost or something attached itself to you, and that's one of the things that to remember. Is always wash your hands. It's a fact that all people know. Some people get that miscommunication with not knowing about stuff like that. And I know those stuff because I research stuff online, and I just know it for my own good. When somebody says to do something, so you won't get haunted, I would rather not get haunted, because I mean, I already got like how many spirits around me, I'm blasting and he's another bunch. But I remember that day, I remember that moment after feeling my hand, I was like, it felt like as if something was like a long finger just going across my whole hand. But I remember that moment every time. It was a weird moment. But that was only first. That was my first moment. Not talking about the third one. The third story is gonna be something leading into that. The third story is the most creepiest one. Now this one is recent because this is another funeral. This was my grandpa's funeral. This was one of the times we went. Yeah. It was one of those times. The death thing and the funeral, things like that, and then whole the whole thing with the funeral and then the cemetery. I think in between that timeline, I went back to the cemetery. But I remember specifically it was terrifying because I went there, we cleansed it, we gave flowers, we said our blessings, we prayed, we did all these things just before we were about to leave. And this is one of the things I heard from one of the stories that they talked about. There was like this big thing. I don't know how to explain it, but I'll use this as an example. Now think of this. There's like how many tops of this? They're kind of square, not like this, the circle. Think of a square, these topped up thing, and it's all concrete. And it's basically like a one ginormous headstone, basically, for like multiple people. When we asked about it, we're like, what's the middle part? This is like a scary story. I know I feel bad about talking about it because I don't know it too well, but I know it well enough to talk a little bit about it. But they said underneath that grave of that big cement block, endless block that goes on top, it's supposedly an abortionish babies that basically have passed on or weren't born or died during birth, and basically these babies were dying, and they put all of those babies to the ground with no marked grave, like none marked or graved or anything. It's just basically a bunch of babies all put into like the ground with no recognition of who they all were, but they were babies and they passed away, and they were all from the community in different ways. It was a very disturbing story, and I can't even get into it. The idea of getting into it gets me very sick. But I remember it specifically, and it scarred me a little bit here and there about kids, an idea of somebody doing that to a little baby, you know, things like that. Just, I would have liked it if they would have done something better, but I guess that's the only way you can do it. Like to bury babies, but I felt bad, and that was like the first skill trip about it because I know how I feel about kids, and I love kids. So before we're about to leave, and this just right when I got to like say like the gates right here, and I'm like right over here, just as I was walking up the gate. I just got like lucky I touched the tip of the gate. And how can I explain it? As I try to explain it to you guys. I'm gonna use this doll's hand for example, because I'm not great with it. Now think of this, like a hand like this, probably bigger, but just imagine it kind of touching your hand, like little hands, just like tiny ones, toddler sizes. And basically what was, they grabbed me here and here. I felt it. As soon as I touched the gate, I felt baby hands touching me. I mean, basically, there must have been at least 9. I counted one side of the arm. I wasn't even counting like this side of the arm. But I felt it. And I remember being so terrified. And I was trying not to be terrified because I was like, I know that if I clean my hands, they'll go away. But I remember specifically baby hands touching me, and I was like on edge about it. It was just like terrifying. It was honestly one of the scariest things ever. One of the experiences, anyway, to get into. I mean, I've had experiences here and there. I mean, I've had knocks on the wall. I've had weird things moving out of place, like weird stuff. But those are the experiences that really stuck with me because I think about them every time. It's like, ooh, terrifying, just scary. But I've seen things. I mean, I've like my spirit, as I've been told before by many people before, that I have like a spirit that's kind of, I can see things. I try to ignore them, but they're there, and I can see them, and I can acknowledge them. That's why they connect to me so much. It's kind of like basically being somebody there for that spirit or thing. So I try to ignore it as much as possible because I don't think I'm ready to amount to that kind of responsibility of being a medium, I guess they call them, or spirit something. I don't know, it's the thought of being anything like that in that category. It's a lot of responsibility, I think, honestly, in my opinion. But yeah, just the idea of it's scary. But if I can leave a message with you guys to talk about spirits, I think in a way that some spirits are bad, some spirits are good. Some spirits you can, if they contact you, just let them know that they have to move on. You got, if they have unfinished business, tell them that specifically that there's nothing there for them anymore. I feel like some spirits understand. I mean, I'm kind of a weird person when it comes to like ghosts, but I think when I think about like spirits, I know that there's some parts that are myth and some parts that are true. One of the true things is the spirits are usually here, but they're here in another world, so if you're very lucky, you can sense them. If you don't, then it's usually you have the Pacific soul. You have to have like a very open one. It's gotta be like you have to be 100% open, like emotionally. You gotta be strong. You have all these things that most people have a hard time with. But if you're that type of person, that can be very clear and have emotion that's clear. It's kind of like basically inviting yourself into like a lot of spirits, but still, I mean, I'm not as scared as I used to be. Now I'm just kind of relaxed with it most of the time. But yeah, so far from what I can tell, it hasn't been a totally crazy experience as most people would think of being a person that attracts the ghosts easily or spirits, entities. But guess to leave it on one last note before I end the video because I don't want it to be too long. If you feel like somebody's kind of contacting you, that to get another expert to talk with, because I'm personally, I think I should do that at one point to ask if it's something that I have, if it's like a gift, because I'm not sure what it is, but I can always feel it. But yeah, I don't know what else to add to this, honestly, and just blabbing on and on. But anyway, if you guys like this video, I can bring up more stuff, hopefully, in next Halloween. If you guys want, demand it, like right away, I can do a requested video, but I'll be doing this next Halloween, hopefully with more ghost stories and more stuff I can share with you guys. But anyway, this is Lil Mandy, and I am peace.